I love to fly up in the sky. Through the clouds I reach so high, climbing up to touch the light. Adventure calls me day and night. The wind, it sings a melody, guiding where I long to be. I'll spread my wings and chase the sun. No limits when the dream's begun. The world below fades out of sight as I soar into the light. The stars above begin to shine, painting trails so bright and fine. Every turn brings something new, endless skies in brilliant blue. The wind, it sings a melody, guiding where I long to be. I'll spread my wings and chase the sun. No limits when the dream's begun. The world below fades out of sight as I soar into the light. I'll spread my wings and chase the sun. No limits when the drum's begun. The world below fades out of sight as I soar into the light.
Good evening, everyone. Bit later today, but still managed to get it. Welcome to yet another flight on the Synaptic A220. Today we're going to fly out of Riga to Ljubljana in Slovenia, so out of Latvia to Slovenia. On board the beautiful 50th aircraft livery of Air Baltic. Now, like I say in the description, so what? The Synaptic hasn't updated this plane just yet. They're still taking their sweet time to make it work. It's all right. It's all right. We can still fly it. I managed to streamline the operation while we wait for further fixes of the other major issues. So a lot of things I have to skip, but in order to make the flight work, such as some tests that the plane is unable to perform correctly, but that's not really relevant for today's flight. So we'll be doing our best to make it as quick as possible. I'll be fast forwarding because I know people like to take their Sundays, you know, to rest, not to watch these things, but the video will be around, and I hope this is the ultimate video when everything works and the landing, I just nailed the landings and all that, and while we wait for Synaptic to update the plane. So I think this now will be my last flight before the fix. They are planning to release that fix sometime on Tuesday. So it all depends on Microsoft, really, not on Synaptic or any builds. But anyway, if on Monday I do make a flight, so tomorrow, I will not take the 220, so because I really want those fixes. All right. Here we are on board the A220. There's Betsy. Now you will notice that Betsy will have a little sore throat today. For some reason, Beyond GC is not allowing me to select female voices, so she will have a male voice. But I will do something different today. I will try to perform all the comms, so in order to leave Betsy alone for a moment. She's always doing my comms, and I've heard a couple of criticism about that, saying that I keep using AI to control my comms. And yeah, you're right. Hello, Drexy. Welcome. Nice to see you. So today we'll do something a little different. All right, first of all, let's bring back sound because I cut it. Here we are. So first things first, let's bring power to the plane. Here we are. Let's turn on the logo, wing inspection. Let's also bring up the dome light, all the jazz. Let the plane load. Just turn on the dome light here. Alright, much better. Let's also turn on these lights on the side. I really wish we could move the electronic flight bag away. So I just like to light everything. You can see it better around the cockpit. I still think the glare shield needs some lighting. I'm not sure if there is actual light. I think this is a light here. Yeah, right here, but it doesn't light up for some reason. I've tried my best. Let me see. Is this the one? No, this is this. Oh yes, it is. This light's the floodlight there. All right, cool. I always thought it was just illuminating these side panels here, which doesn't do much, to be honest. All right, the plane's lining up itself. I'm doing fine, Drexy. How are you, buddy? It's always nice to see you. Always cool to see you. So as you can see, I'm already making some memory items, and this is the way we'll do it. I hope that we do have a clear flight today. So running on APU, no sorry, external power complete, because the last few flights on this plane were not doing well. Airplane documents, operations, equipment, gear pins are in. Let's just put that now. The overhead panel, we're just going to make a nice little sweep. So coming up from the top to bottom, at least that's the way I do it on the Airbus, so I hope this is the same. We go top to bottom, top to bottom, top to bottom, and top to bottom, and then go sideways on the lights panel. So top to bottom, so this plane has a no light cockpit logic, so if you have something lit up, it means that it's either off or you're using it in a manual or alternate mode, pretty much like any other Airbus, to be honest. So it seems that we got everything okay. All the APU engine fire bottles are all automatic. Automatically. Oh, sorry. These are manual. What I mean is that they're pushed in. That's what I mean. Hydraulics. So we just turn on the hydraulic 3 and 3A and 3B, as well as 2B. Then the isolation valve, all that jazz. APU is turned off for now. TAWs are all lit up. Guarded and working. Fuel set to auto, both boost pumps. Air system is doing auto, so everything is on. If I want, I can set backflow to high. So recycle fan turn off. Coming back here, ELT is armed, so this is the emergency locator transmitter in case the plane ditches somewhere. Cargo, fire detection, equipment cooling, pressurization. This is very much automated, unless you really want to operate one of these. One of these is the famous ditching button, in case you have to ditch, but also in case of de-icing. Most people don't know that. I'm just telling you something you probably don't know. Whenever you de-ice your plane with the de-icing equipment on an airport, you need to hold this button in, so that the plane closes all inflow and outflow valves. It doesn't feed in very, very bad chemicals used for de-icing. So wipers off and now the lights. We got nav light, beacon off, strobe off, logo light on, and wing inspection. Taxi lights and landing lights off. Passenger sides are all on. So, overhead panel done. Now let's go for the glass shield. This is according to pilot preference. We got inboard display, outboard display. We're going to set up everything. FCU is correctly configured because nothing is yet inserted. Looks okay, no buttons or no issues. Displays have all been checked. We got 5 displays. 2 can be parted on the front, 1 can be parted on the center pedestal. Both PFDs cannot be parted. Okay. I guess in info, so basically we check on the aircraft info. Now let's go with and cross-check it with the maintenance and all that. We don't have any accumulated failures or anything of the sort on this aircraft. At least not yet. I'm not sure if it's planned at all. All right, let's go here. Consult our digital 80s. We can also listen to 80s, but we got a digital one here. Is just as good. And realistically, the pilots will consult and will have their 80s ready in written form on their own company pads. So what are we looking here? We're looking for the altimeter, which is 1020. So let's set that before I forget. I usually do forget it. 1020. Oops, too much. 1020 set and cross-checked. Let's also set it here on our standby altimeter. 1020 checked. Center panel, so same drill. We're going to check the center panel, see if there's a disagreement between the flap position and the flap indication. Spoilers are retracted. We got rudder trim set 0. This should be a push button, by the way. You should press to set 0. It's not working. Neither is the aileron trim here. So all these cursors are set to normal. We can swap this display if in case the PFD malfunctions. We can swap it. This is the panel to do so. This is my radio. This is the standby radio. This is the co-pilot's radio. Right now it's set to intercom. I'm not sure why it's not working. It should be able to commute to press between intercom off or PTT. So currently it's in intercom for some reason. Pedestal, we are on idle. Engine controls switches are off, and our start mode is on auto. I remember the first time I ever flew this plane, I started pressing the continuous ignition, the cranks. So the crank is used mid-flight, it's not used on the ground. And the pilot event switch. This is our CDU controls, so they're both no apparent button, so locked or missing or something like that, and we are good to go. So center pedestal perform. Center panel and pedestal, sorry. And now the side sticks. How do you check the side sticks? Good question. It's actually a pretty cool feature. See this crosshair? So basically now I move my side stick and check for free movement. So full deflection left, full deflection right. And notice this, when I move my ailerons, no ailerons are moving, by the way. What I mean is, on the aileron axis, we got the soft lock, the soft point, and the hard point. So there's a detent here, and there's a hard point that moves the plane. So this is like the emergency in case of you really need to add an extra humph to your flight controls. You should have a soft point and then the hard point. But this only happens on the side stick, and as you can see, it moves freely all the way to the hard point. Now look, when I push up, this is the maximum I can go. So this is the soft point, and it doesn't go beyond that. We should be able to go beyond that. I think this is a bug. We should go all the way to full hard point, or hard lock, or hard switch, or whatever, hard detent if you want. So it is working. That's good. Alright, now let's call GSX, tell them to board the passengers.
Boarding requested.
Here comes the jet bridge. Let me show you outside. People like to see this, and I always keep missing this part of the operation. It's always cool to watch. By the way, that door should open before the gate docks. That's somehow of a no-no, but it is what it is. There goes our, so no, do not attach the tug yet. It's always fun to see these things in action. Let's reach ground and request IFR clearance. Although we still have
Air Baltic 216 request IFR clearance to Ljubljana Airport.
Air Baltic 216, read the ground information India current, cleared to Ljubljana via the Bureau 2 Foxtrot departure, runway 18, climb via SID to flight level 140, squawk 5134.
Clear to Ljubljana via Berry 2 Foxtrot departure, runway 18, climb to flight level 140, squawk 5134, Air Baltic 216.
Air Baltic 216, read that correct. Call me back when ready for pushback or engine start.
Wilco, Air Baltic 216. Done. Alright. So this is what I'm going to do today. I'm going to handle the comms as best as I can. Sometimes I will turn on auto respond to allow Betsy to come in, but I will try to handle the comms in full if I can. So departure briefing, we should be discussing this with our co-pilot. Set, complete. Let's go to secondary. We got Evra to Ljubljana, so Evra is Riga to Ljubljana. Activate, execute, done. Let's go for departures. Now we were told that we will be given runway 18 via Berry to Foxtrot. So runway 18 via Berry to Foxtrot. And done. It's easy as that. It's pretty cool. Let's go for the flight number. So we are Air Baltic 216. So we are BTI 216. And let's insert there. We should also insert our expected time of departure, but you know how I am. I always delay this crap, so let's request winds aloft. There they are. Pretty quick, should be a little slower than that. And let's, we cannot insert any flight data, so weights and CG and flight planning, not yet until we have IRS aligned. Oh, actually we can, IRS is already aligned, which is cool. Alright, let's go here to our load sheet. Import from Simbrief, pretty soft. Load the aircraft, so we now have the proper weights. So 48073. And we insert there. And now CG is 25.3. Done. We also have 6584 as fuel. This is our block fuel, by the way. And number of passengers, we got 101.
This way, please.
And insert there. Done. So this is as much as we can do in the performance. Now let's go here to the, well, this is the flight plan performance on the fuel page. Now we'll go for the performance itself. We can only perform this after deployment. We calculated the takeoff performance. So we are going to need the ATs again for the weather. So wind is variable at 2. So when that happens, I always set to 000-2. Whoops, 000-2. There we go. OAT is 16. Bit chilly today. And the altimeter is 1020, as we saw before. Alright, now we can't calculate yet because we forgot the weight. So we just sync FMS. Now we can calculate. Here we go. We got takeoff 2, so 20% thrust reduction. V1 is 125, VR is 130, V2 is 136, and we're going to take off with flaps 2. We can select different flaps for takeoff, but the plane seems comfortable with flaps 2. That's what we'll use. We send this to the FMS, and there we go. We got thrust, takeoff thrust 2, and we're going to set climb to also 2. and set takeoff flaps, and we're going to disarm the APR. So this is like an emergency power. If in case of one engine failure, APR is armed, then it will provide the pilot the ability to have full thrust on the good engine. So it's like a fail-safe system in case something happens with one of the engines. We're going to select the bleed source to engine. No need for any wing or cowl anti-ice, at least for now. I've tested the ice detection on this plane. It does work. Continue with the before start checklist, APU or external power. We got external power for now. Seatbelt signs are on, the doors are still open. We got parking brakes set. We're just going to wait for the doors to close and then beacon on so we can complete this checklist. Alright, let's just take a look here at our route and let's open our map here so we
Air Baltic 3 Foxtrot Tango, taxi to stand 110 Bravo via Yankee, Charlie Papa Romeo. Taxi to stand 110 Bravo via Yankee, Charlie Papa Romeo, Air Baltic 3 Foxtrot Tango.
Ljubljana. As you can see here, the flight plan looks complete, but sometimes, and there's a good example, it will add random discontinuities. So there's 2 barrels here, but if we go here we might have more. Actually there's only 1 today, but sometimes it adds more than 1 discontinuity. Not entirely sure if this is intentional. So this barrel is the final waypoint out of the SID, and that's the final waypoint to barrel, but then it adds another barrel that's telling the plane to go direct to. Pretty sure this is not correct. So what I do often is just pull one up and remove the discontinuity, and that's it. I also don't know why it has this blank space here, probably between the top of descent and top of climb and top of descent, but it looks weird. It should be a continuous thing, as I would say. Anyway, flight looks fine and dandy. There's a TOD, there's the top of descent, and the top of climb should be here. There it is. We can also kind of zoom out a little bit so you can see better. Alright, now on this page here, we're going to load our data page, and we're going to get our departure. So we are taking barrel. So barrel is right here. This is our departure. We're going to come out of runway 18 and fly southbound, southwestbound, and then south towards barrel. And the constraints will be followed, and we hope so. And here we are. This is our flight plan towards Ljubljana, out of Riga first. Alright, looks good. Let's go back to plan. Let's turn on the vertical situation display as well as traffic for now. We don't need terrain for now. Let's set our TCAS. We were given TCAS is 5134. Let me confirm this is us. Yes, 5134. We can filter out anything on 5134. So let's set that up. 51 and now the 34. Done. Okay. We are good to go. We got the clock here. That's something I keep forgetting in my flights. Let's set our altitude. Initial is 1,400. We also need to set our transition levels, so that's done here. It seems like a lot of stuff to do, but it's actually pretty smooth. So transition altitude is 5,000 here, and then we execute, and then our descent transition is 110, so flight level 110. So we FL 110, set it up here, done. Alright, that's about it. As for the arrival, we'll set that up during flight. Alright, looks good. Let's go back to performance, departure. This is the page we want to be open at. So I think we are pretty much done with the loading. The doors are still unarmed, so we're going to start APU now. See if I forget anything. Yeah, the doors on the cargo doors are still open, as well as the main L1 door. We can also see it here on the Synaptic page. So, where are the doors? the greens are closed. Apparently, yes, the greens are closed, and the yellow disarmed means that they're just not armed. Alright, waiting for the APU. For that, we go here to the status page. APU starting up. Waiting for 100% RPM. That will mean the APU is powering the plane. And when that happens, often our CDU will, our FMS will reset for some reason. There it is. So now we're going to turn off the external power, and well, instead this time we can disconnect the GPU. Done. And we can remove the chocks. The plane is on parking brakes. We can confirm them here. Alright, looks good. Let's call GSX and tell them that we want to get out of Dodge.
Hello, Captain. We are ready for pushback.
Good, good, good. Starting a couple of things in the background, sorry for that. So I'd like to ask GSX to start clearing the airplane for departure before I request push and start, because it could happen
Departure check completed. Bypass pin inserted.
that this pushback takes a little longer than expected, and I could be just creating a huge traffic jam. So I prefer to just request when we got everything cleared, and then I can request push and start. Also, this plane takes an awful lot of time to start their engines, so
Locking gear.
yeah. Here we go, checklists. We got doors closed, beacon on, we're good to go. Checklist before start, checklist complete. Let's go before taxi checklist. Go back to map for now. And yeah, there's a bug. This happens quite a lot. So the reason why the flight plan just disappears, you need to go back to map and then plan again. Not sure why that happens. Alright, we're good to go. Let's request push and start.
Air Baltic 216 at gate 107 Bravo, request pushback.
Air Baltic 216 read ground, pushback approved. Face west.
Pushback approved, face west, Air Baltic 216. Alright, there we go.
Release parking brakes.
Parking brake released.
Commencing push. All engines clear. Start at wheel.
There we go. Starting number one. And now you'll see how much time it will take for this engine to start, because it needs to motor. Does the motoring. So the plane will make the fan blades rotate to cool down the systems, and then once it's got to an ideal temperature, then it will start the ignition process. So this invalid
Lufthansa 892, taxi to stand 110 Bravo via Yankee Charlie
FMS
Papa
restarted.
Romeo.
Taxi to stand 110 Bravo via
So we're
Yankee
setting
Charlie Papa Romeo
V2 plus
Lufthansa
10, so
892.
146 here. And this invalid speed, I'm not sure what's going on there. So we got APU, ATIs,
Set
auto and
parking
on.
brakes.
Parking brake set.
Waiting your confirmation for good engine start.
Set flaps 2. Engine 1 starting. We got center. Rudder is center. We got the trim set to 5.0. As long as in the green band, it's alright.
All aircraft be advised, information Juliet now current, QNH1020.
Flaps 2 set. Let's check flight controls. Deflection left. Oh, we need second engine, my bad. Right, we got good engine start. Let's start left engine, right engine. So right engine starting up. We can also arm our systems here. Set our flight directors. Set takeoff thrust. Oh, look at that, it's -2 DGT. Right there.
Tow truck disconnected. Bypass pin removed. Left is clear, right is clear.
Pretty sure that's not supposed to be -2, but okay. What's the TAT? Outside temperature, it's 16, yeah. That's definitely not -2. So it's like someone dropped some ice in the engine before start on EGT. Some nitrogen or something. Hey, but it's possible that the motoring does that, right? I don't know. To be honest, I'm not very familiar with the Pratt & Whitney engines. I'm a CFM LEAP guy. There we go, engine 2 starting. We can turn off our LEAP here. We had a warning there for a moment, not sure what. No wheel steer connected. So flight controls have been checked. No steer connected. And ICAS and info completed. Before takeoff checklist will be coming next. But before that, we need the airport chart so we can navigate towards the active runway. And I believe we need to go north. Yeah, we need to go northbound. Riga ground, Air Baltic 216, ready to taxi for the active.
Air Baltic 216, taxi to holding point Golf, runway 18 via Tango, Foxtrot Golf.
Taxi to holding point Golf via to runway 18 via taxi way Tango, Foxtrot and Golf, Air Baltic 216. There we go. Taxi lights on, parking brake off. Let's move on. Here comes the whale. Not too much power, I just need to convince the plane to depart. Do we have an empty airport or something? Looks empty though. So let's turn here to Tango and now Fox. Is it empty? Ah, there's some planes here. Okay, turn off our dome light now. So before takeoff checklist, APU not required, PUE not required, FMS has been set, the trims are set, flaps are set, NTI is not required, auto brake, let's set to RTO, ACAS and info, thrust checked, we're going to confirm the runway, the cabin is ready, we just need to confirm the runway once we get there. So we're still on Fox, we need to go all the way to Golf. And Golf is right there. And we are to hold in Golf, so we're going to hold at the visual holding point right here after Golf 2. Not many planes that's the position where I should put my birdie up. And then after a moment, it will transition to vertical navigation.
Air Baltic 216, contact Riga Tower 118.105, bye-bye.
118.105 for Riga Tower, Air Baltic 216, bye-bye. Alright, let's go for the visual holding point up there. Then we're past Golf 2, and that's our holding point right there. Still on Golf. There we go, let's brake here. Confirm we got everything set up. We're going to confirm we are at runway 18 as planned, so we can confirm this. And before takeoff checklist complete. Now let's get to the after takeoff checklist, but for now we're going to set map, turn on terrain. Because we don't have weather radar, we should turn it on now, but we do not have it, so that's it. Maybe I wish I had a nice floodlight here on the pedestal as well. Maybe there is and I just didn't find it. Alright, we're good to go. Riga Tower, Air Baltic 216, ready to go, runway 18.
Air Baltic 216, Riga Tower, wind 240 degrees, 3 knots, runway 18, cleared for takeoff.
Good for takeoff, runway 18, Air Baltic 216.
Approaching 18.
Confirm 18. No traffic inbound.
On runway 18.
Done. Let's confirm going to nav. For some reason it disarms all systems we set up earlier. We good to go? Let's go 50% and 1. We now press this little button here for our toga. I think I'm sitting too high. There we go. economy. So remember that. Hello, Simbrief. Welcome. What is your approach to these new touch instruments? Simbrief, it is. I mean, these screens are not touch screens, by the way. In real life, these are not touch screens. They look like touch screens because we move our mouse here, but actually they're controlled by a little trackball pilots have down here. I really wish there was a light here so I can illuminate the pedestal, because it's a bit hard for people to see what I'm talking about. Let me see if I'm right in the answers. Maybe turn on the dome. Oh, there it is. So yeah, you see this little device here? This is a trackball, right? And this is what pilots actually use to control the icons. As for the interaction itself, it's pretty much like the A350. If you like the interaction on an A350 owned by any builds, it's pretty similar. However, to be honest, I think this interaction is a bit better than any builds. So any builds has a huge issue. It will work perfectly on the ground, but once the plane starts shaking a lot, you will see that the cursor is a little sluggish, especially the click when you try to click. So passing 10,000 feet, external lights off. Should have turned on the taxi lights already. We're going to leave the wing lights on. As for the logics of data insertion, it takes a moment to get used to. So on the A350, we also use a different method of scratchpad input. So on the 350, you select the box you want to edit and then write down on the keyboard. This is a little different. So first you select what you will see, write down, sorry, what you want on the scratchpad, and then you press where you want to put it. There's a way to change that in the settings. So if you come here to the settings, you have an option here. I believe it's in EFB setting right here. You can add an entry mode keybind. So you can select a key that when you press, you can enter directly the text. I believe that's the option there. I've never used it because I got used to it. It's pretty much that. After takeoff checklists, by the way, landing gear is up, flaps are 0, NTIs are set to auto, and ICAS is checked. So after takeoff checklist complete. So that's what I got to say about the touchscreen logic. I wish the A350 could be as responsive as this plane, to be honest, because I think any builds didn't do a good job with that, to be honest. I think still today I have issues with the electronic flight bag, with the touch screens on the FMS. But I think on this plane they did a good job. Let's turn on the pedal disconnect, and now we have no pedestal and seat belts. I'm gonna wait for. Sorry. Contact Riga control 133.2 Air Baltic 216. Riga control Air Baltic 216 with you 5,000, 15,000 feet. They're gonna mess it up.
Air Baltic 216 Riga control. Good evening. Identified climb flight level 370.
Climb to flight level 370 Air Baltic 216. Alright, let's go. And now this plane has a very, very specific thing on the checklist whenever we are flying. And that thing was raised. I thought I had activated something by accident. climbing at a good rate, 1,600, and it's following the virtual the VNAV flight level change. If you want to follow an actual VPath, it doesn't look like you can do it, to be honest. I'm not sure why, but it would appear that the VPath is only available in an obscure mode that I can't find. So if I come here to climb mode, you see that speed strategy, it's blanked. We can only go selected, and that will bring us this message here, no VPath. So we cannot establish a virtual climb path for some reason. Maybe it's just work in progress, probably, but it could be an airplane quirk. At this point, I'm no longer just imagining it's a bug. It could be an airplane quirk, and we're just not available. Oh, forgot to seatbelt signs. Set to auto. There it goes. But yeah, I also forgot to launch the chrono. That was your job, Betsy. Cheers, me. Don't mind. Oh, right, just probably this one. There you go. Nice. Nice romantic flight tonight with Betsy. Like I said, she's got a little sore throat, or she's got a manly voice now. Not my doing. So Beyond TC just had a recent update and apparently broke that option to select a female voice. Lots of things on this plane are just good ideas. For example, the automated transponder. This is an excellent idea. It just selects the best option for each phase of the flight. That's the way to go, I suppose. So like I said, if we have the speed strategy set here, it's always going to wait to speed. So speed is one of these two, the lowest one. So it's either 275 knots or Mach 0.78. That's our climb thrust, and that's the speed the plane wants to maintain. So it's going to maintain 275. However, on VNAV there are other modes. One of them is selected track or selected vertical track. So or selected vertical speed if you want. So you might just select an angle, or you might let it be automated. And now this message will not appear. The plane will have a VNAV path here, and it will follow that VNAV path at a given rate. It can even accelerate or decelerate in order to keep it. And that's you can have a higher speed or lower speed. Of course, if you go lower, it will favor vertical speed if you have a lower airspeed. So yeah, the plane can gamble with that and make it a much faster climb. But since it needs to keep this speed at 275 or Mach 0.78, it will always reduce this angle as it gets closer and closer to the top of climb, and that annoys me quite a bit. I know it's an economical thing, but it also takes an awful lot of time sometimes. Alright, we're going to wait a little bit until we reach the top of climb, and as you can see, it looks like we're never going to reach it because it keeps flying away, but don't worry, we'll get there. Once we do that, we missing on this plane is the route on route map, so we don't have that. Charts are still broken here. I still can't use it. If I press it, it will tell me that the Navigraph token expired. If I log in here, I will lose the charts here. If I log in the DUs, then I'll lose the login here. So I prefer to have it on the display units, to be honest. But we are missing an extra button here for the flight charts. And the only way to do that right now is just come here to the flight plan and see where we are in the world. So we departed Riga, which is here. Yep. Yeah, there it is. We departed Riga here. And there it is. And now we're flying southbound, Slovenia. So oh my god, how do you spell it? I just forgot. Ljubljana. It's somewhere over here. We can of course come here to Simbrief and just abort the flight, and we now have something to look at when we go to the briefing window. Oh, wrong spot. There it is. That's Ljubljana Airport in Slovenia. Quite a cozy airport, you'll see. So
Air Baltic 216, contact Warsaw Radar 127.
let's go to Warsaw Control.
Contact Warsaw Radar 127.45, Air Baltic 216. Warsaw Radar, Air Baltic 216, flight level 370.
Air Baltic 216, Warsaw Radar identified.
I need to go back to Warsaw. It's been a while. I like that airport. I've been concentrating myself in Air Baltic routes because it's the most prolific airline in Europe to use this plane. But I will start flying elsewhere, and one of the places I want to do is Warsaw, and also I want to fly back to Innsbruck. I just love that airport. It's so beautiful. Beautiful approach. I think you guys will like Slovenia as well. Ljubljana approach is it's very, very cinematic as well. So in order not to be too heavy, sorry about that, I will remove terrain here just to be a little lighter the frame rate. I'm not having issues right now, but still. In fact, right there's ILS present, the system will most likely pick it. So I'm going to pick ILS, although you can easily pick the RNAV Zulu. You just need to tell ATC and beyond ATC that you would like to select a different approach. But I tend to like ILS. It's still a very reliable system, and the clearances are a little more tolerant than the RNAV. The RNAV needs a very narrow clearance, and so I like to play it safe. Sometimes vectors in will be quite messy, but I'm confident
Air Baltic
that
216, contact Warsaw radar 123.625.
Warsaw radar.
Contact Warsaw radar 123.625
replicate what the PFD data and HST will show. You've seen it on other planes. You've seen it on the Boeing 737. Both the MAX and the NG have the 787 have it, and of course the A350 has it as an option. It's a very expensive option, so you won't see it on real-life airliners. But on the Unibuilds 350, you can have your own HUD, and it's missing on this plane. And I believe it's much more useful for this plane than it is for the 350. I was also told, or I wasn't told, I read from a real-life pilot that this plane is very, very quirky when it comes to ILS interception. So that's not me, guys. Apparently it's a bit overreacting on this simulation, but the real airplane is also very overreacting. Not as much as it is here. I think Synaptic is going to adjust that. But yeah, the plane will overshoot, and then we'll come back in, and then we'll overshoot again, and then it will, like the pilot that I've seen commenting on that said it's a little dance. And one thing I've learned is let's trust pilots. If they say so, that means the plane's this simulation is a-okay. So this happens a lot. I really wish they fixed this. The charts will somehow disappear. And it happens quite often. The only way to make him become steadier is just to do what I just did. You just select the split, but not all maps will split correctly, so this one won't split, and now it's stuck. But then again, we're so far away, we're not even in the ballpark on this map yet. So let's prep our approach. Let's continue because we already prepped it. So let's go back here to the ILS localizer, runway 30. We got our decision height set for 13901, so 1,391 feet. So we're going to set that here. We are PFD barrel red, and we're going to write it down. So 1390. Unfortunately, the last digit is not selectable, so we can't go to the last digit. It's only running on the tens, but it's good enough. It's close enough. We can also select barrel or radar, so we're going to select it to barrel. Back to the first page. So just this little device here, this little radio panel, it's actually pretty cool because it doesn't just give you VHF 1 and nav 1, you can also select VHF 2 and nav 2. And as you can see, VHF 2 is set for 1 to 1.5, that's emergencies. But also you can of course control your transponder. You have your transponder selector right here, set on auto right now, and the transponder will be depicting the current phase of flight. So currently it's transmitting TARA for sure, and yeah, the TFC now. Actually, it's going to say set on TFC. So TFC is the mode that it's on right now. If it's on the ground, we have TARA turned off, but the transponder will turn on as soon as we insert data. So it's pretty cool. It's one of the, I would say, the best feature. There's a lot of good features here. It's one of the best automations on this plane. It's the automatic transponder, because it just relieves the tremendous amount of from the tremendous amount of the workload from a tremendous amount of items. It's just that cool. Then on the tune menu, by the way, we have a next page that people no longer use the cell cal. You can select your cell cal. I don't know if this is working actually, is it? No, it's not working. You can select but nothing happens, and cell cal is not working. So the VHF 3 is usually for data link. That's why it's selected. It's a third radio set right back here, set for data link. That's the way it radar control is not working. This is our current clock. So this is UTC time, as you can see. We have the standby nav, which is just another HSI. It can also give you ILS. Pretty cool. You have, of course, the FPV cage. So it is currently uncaged. If you want to cage it, for example, if there's crosswind, there's a slight crosswind, you can cage the FPV and it will center on your aircraft. However, it will not give you side slip. So be mindful of that. And of course, we have the PFD nav. This is where you set our minimums. We select heading from MAG or true heading. We got bearing to 1 and 2. We can select, for example, bearing to BFMS1 and bearing to VOR. And there they are. They're auto-tuned to the exact one. Usually I see pilots set this to VOR1 and VOR2. It will auto-tune to the nearest VOR station. If you don't want that, it just leave it blank. It's alright. And we have, of course, the landing elevation. This is automatically populated by the FMS. So once you select the runway, it will select the runway altitude. But if you want, you can select it manually for some reason. If you don't trust what's written here, for example, if the NARAC changed and the system still indicates the previous altitude, you can come here and set it manually. Or if you don't have a landing altitude or a landing destination, you can set it manually here as well. Pretty cool. Alright, coming back here, I think of course we forgot the course. You can set up the course. HUD is inoperable, as we saw earlier. And that's it. Pretty cool feature, pretty cool little display unit. It's almost like, you know, a 6th or 7th screen, because it is a little screen. It is a digital screen, and it does give you an instrument there as well. Pretty awesome. Little works on this aircraft. There's no arming the spoilers. You probably noticed that. In flight, you can only go full flaps, full spoilers, sorry. But this plane has a little bug. You need to come here to the full detent, and if you want to go max, you need to raise this and go max. And I believe you should not do that in flight unless it's an emergency. So on regular operations, it should go from retracted 1/4, half, 3/4, or full. That's it. If you want to go max, it means something's very, very wrong. You need to go down really, really fast, and that's a non-normal procedure. But on this plane, if you press the spoilers, it will go max. That's probably not good, but as long as the plane can take it, I suppose, right? Let me get some light here. Another little quirk is, can you see the little lip here on the slat and flap handle? So this is supposed to raise when you operate your flaps. This is currently not happening. So this prevents this lever to move accidentally. So let's imagine I'm moving around the cockpit and I have a long sleeve jacket. My jacket can get trapped on the lever and pulled back, and that will deploy the flaps mid-flight. You might say, well, but I would have noticed. Well, there have been cases where pilots do that and they don't notice. There have been cases of pilots mistaking the landing gear handle for a flap handle. So, well, when you're in operation and you're concentrated, mistakes will happen. So that's why this is borrowed from Airbus. The style, I mean, I don't mean that they went there and pick up the lever and put it here. I'm just saying the style of the flaps is borrowed, the design is borrowed from Airbus. You need to pull this lip up and then move the lever. Otherwise, it's going to be stuck in position. So other features that are missing or should be, the PDT and intercom switch. This should be selectable, especially because surprise here, so I'm going to decelerate again.
Austrian 907, flight level 390.
Austrian 907, Bratislava radar identified.
Alright, we're back in normal speed.
Enter 330, contact with radar 123.625.
Center 123.625, intent 330. Bratislava radar, Ryanair 1 Hotel Victor, flight level 380.
So, shortcomings on this plane.
Ryanair 1 Hotel Victor.
Missing weather radar, we talked about that. Some of the items here are not working, we talked about that. There's also an issue here with some of the tests that you can perform. So if we come here to the Synaptic page, and you go avionics, there are missing items here, so we don't have TOS test, shaker test, weather, that's all blanked out. But the ones we do have are the lamp, TCAS, and ice detection. The lamp will work. I'll not do it right now because I don't want to mess everything. The ice detection system will operate, but it will always give you ice detection fault. Always, and that's not a clearable fault here. And the TCAS test, if it does perform it, I don't know what feedback I should get, but I don't hear anything from it. So another shortcoming. Yeah, none of these are working. Probably work in progress. We can't change any of these control pages. Info is related to our message systems. So if there's a message on the icons, we'll have it either on the FMS or on this page. Status page looks pretty much complete, although I have sincere doubts the temperature detection on the brakes are accurate, because this plane is famous to have hot brakes, but I've not seen any temperatures going beyond reason here. Oh, this is us.
Clear Palu to Lima arrival, runway 30, Air Baltic
Need to
216.
change. So runway changed. No, we don't need to change. It's valid to Lima, runway 30. That's correct. For some reason, I thought we had to change.
Climb to flight level 350. Climb to flight level 350, Sky Malta 8941.
So after this, I will bring the calm responsibility back to me. at descent will force the TOD forward eternally. So the only way to do that is do it in a way that you will eventually intercept the glide path or the descent path, and that's the only way to do that is by going either FPA or vertical speed 1000 feet per minute or FPA 1 degree 1.0. That's the best way to do it. So I'm going to call ready for descent. Let's wait for the altitude and then I'll set it up to show you guys. Budapest control, Air Baltic 216, ready for descent. What? No, that's not what I said. Budapest control, Air Baltic 216, ready for descent. There it is. Descent to 9,000 feet, QNH 1016, Air Baltic 216. Alright, there we go. I'm going to set to 9 tau, but if I press FLC now, the top of the descent will just move forward and going and going and going. So in order to prevent that, I will set an FPA of 1 degree. It will still move forward, but eventually we'll intercept it and we'll enter VPath, which is exactly what we want. Here we go. FPA, and set to 1 degree down. There goes. And you will see the TOD going forward a little bit. The plane already knows it's descending. It already placed the VPath here. And it's already set the TCAS to below, but the TOD, this is just a design thing, will keep moving forward because it's based on performance. Because we're starting our descent sooner, for example on an A220 or on a 737, the system will know that we are overriding the TOD and starting our descent earlier, but not this plane. The plane will just say, hey, what are you doing? You're supposed to descend a little further up. Yeah, but I want to descend now. Ah, it's your problem. Yeah, it's just going to keep on going, moving forward until you intercept it. So here we go. We got FPA minus 1.0 and we got the altitude selected on the VPath. So whatever comes first, it will be VPath. But if we reach our altitude prior to that, VPath will still be armed. And that's what's giving me problems in the previous flights, is that I didn't understand this logic. Oh, and another thing pilots keep saying is that this plane doesn't trade altitude with speed that well, so it'll always accelerate like crazy. So we're about to pass flight level 350. Remember that checklist. We need to turn on the 127.1 Air Baltic 216. There we go. Budapest control, Air Baltic 216 with you, flight level 350.
Air Baltic 216, Budapest control identified.
Here we are. So passing 350, now we turn back the NTI system and fulfill the checklist. We got our FMS set for the approach. We got our minimum set. We're going to set auto brakes set to low. And now we're going to check on the ACAS. Actually, we don't have our FMS set up. We need to do something. We need to come here to performance, arrival, and we need to select our arrival data. So first things first, we need the weather for Ljubljana. So we see here that it's 260 at 3. So let's set that up. 260-3. Set it up here. We are OAT is 22, a little bit harder than our departure. We're going to land with flaps 5. We can select a different set of flaps again, like we could have done for departure, land it manually. You'll need to add the 5 knots. I'm going to set the V speed complete. It's going to be set up here. It's going to show up down here. 128.7, Air Baltic 26, bye-bye. VN radar, Air Baltic 26 with you, flight level 280.
Good evening, VN radar, Ryanair 9070 Romeo, passing flight level 293, descending to flight level 360.
Air Baltic 216, radar identified.
That was weird. Someone overlapped me, but she ignored it. That ought to show up. So now we have done our FMS. So ICAS checked. We're going to check for any warnings, so auto brake, low seatbelt signs as expected. And we're heavily freeing. Do you want to hear the briefing, Betsy? Silent treatment, as always. Complete. Now we're going to bring up the before landing checklist, although we're not going to accomplish it now. We're just going to go back to map here. So, yeah. That's it. Oh, we forgot to add the QNH here. Step by. So QNH is 1017. So that's double QNH.
Radar US 138 heavy flight level 310.
By the way, if you use me on a GC, every time you press the DHs, it's going to refresh. So don't worry about this information being outdated. If you have it open for a long period of time, just cycle between pages and you should have the latest DHs in
Descend with start to 6,000 feet, QNH 101.
You can of course compare that with the information here on the Simbrief WX and populate from last flight, search, you'll have the latest flight plan and you should have Ljubljana right here, and then you can compare the data. So let's go from Ljubljana. You see 2603, this one's 2703 because this is the METAR, it's not 80s. QNH 1017, that's the most important one, and the temperature is 2.16, no sig. So that's the only thing you need to compare. If you have the 80s from St. Tensions or from other suppliers, it will show up here and you can also compare it. So this is the Lima, the one we got here is Yankee. This is the one we want because we are being controlled by Beyond ATC. So never mind the letters here. This is arriving runway 30, departure arrival runway 30, departing runway 12, departing runway 12, transition, so wind calm, KVOG, temperature 22, correct, 2.16, correct, QNH 1017, transition level 120, so this one's 110, I'm not sure who's right here, flight inspection, aircraft active in the area, well, this is an add-on, expect possible altitude adjustments, alright, advise on initial contact, you have information later. So the 80s will be slightly different from voice 80s, so the 80s is just digital 80s, and this one is a recording. Well, 80s is a recording, I'm not sure if this is a recording, but if you are in doubt about, for example, if you want to be pretty sure about the winds, if you cannot confirm here that which winds are correct, always use your weather injector. So I'm using StrataWX. I just come here and not here, but on the app, the external app, you can verify what weather it will inject, and that's the most important thing you can consult. So if you're in doubt here, just open your StrataWX, not this window, the external window, and go to your flight plan, go to your destination, and there you will see I will make a special video on StrataWX again. I've already done one when I first installed and used it. Let me tell you, StrataWX, Strata guys, Strata Sim, Trevor, you've been doing a tremendous job with the program. It's like updated daily. It's crazy. Sometimes it's even a little troublesome because you want to get on with your flight and radar, Air Baltic 216 with you, flight level 110.
The Baltic 216 on the radar. Information Yankee current. QNH 1017. Expect the ILS approach. Runway 30 with the Delta Oscar Lima transition.
Expect the ILS approach runway 30 with the DOL transition. QNH 1017, Air Baltic 216. Right, we're passing transition altitude, so we are going to select 1017. There it is, set and cross-checked. So like I was saying, even though I selected 5,000 here, the plane will still obey to the constraint. So the first constraint is at 8,000. So it's going to hold at 8,000 according to the approach. And then it will start to descend. We can see here the constraints. So there's one. 8,000, then 6,000, then 5,000 at null scope. And this is what we will accomplish. The plane will not go below that as long as you're in VPAF. It will always obey to the VNAV path and using constraints. Coming very close to our destination here, so not long now. We're still descending at a very, well, not very, but at a fast rate, so we'll still stick that little bit of spoiler, half spoiler. We're at 3/4 now, where we were just half. So the good thing about the ILS, we just don't know if it's Zulu or Yankee or whatever. That's not relevant at this point, because we got the plane all set up, including the minimums. Minimums are right here. I don't need to go there. So it's the green lettering here, 1,390. You're going to see a very beautiful approach, although it's at night. Not sure how much you will be able to see, but I gotta make evening or afternoon flights. I can't do that during the weekdays because I'm working. But I'll try to do it when I get on vacations.
The Baltic 216, clear direct Tosco, cross Tosco, at or above 5,000 feet, clear to ILS approach, runway 30.
Cross Tosco at or above 5,000 feet, cleared for the ILS runway 30, Air Baltic 216. Alright, we are clear for the ILS. So let's just do this here. Let's go add terrain again. Right from here. Let's get our ILS chart. Here we are. Final heading is 302. Let's set that up here. We got another discontinuity here. Let's turn on our approach mode. We got ILS and we got localizer and glide slope at blue, but we're still following our FMS route. We will now switch nav source to localizer. 5,000 feet, let's switch to nav source. Now we are at ILS, and as you can see, vRAAS approach runway 30.
Air Baltic 216, Ljubljana Tower, wind 260 degrees, 3 knots, runway 30, cleared to land.
Clear to land, Air Baltic 216. As you can see, the plane is...
Air Baltic 216, cleared to land, runway 30.
Autopilot off. Clear to land, runway 30, Air Baltic 216. Forgot our landing lights. Come on. So hard to make it work. Too low. Alright, there we go. Much better. Now, as you can see, when we were following the automated approach, the plane went parallel. You know.
One thousand.
1000 check.
Gear.
Gear down.
Gear. Gear.
Gear down. Coming down. Gear is very slow to come down, by the way.
Approaching 30.
Copy 30. Very unstable below the glide path, but we can still recover it. You can see here on my on my screen that there's a lot of mountains around here, so going around on this plane is not easy on this airport.
500.
500 check. Check. Too high.
300. Approaching Alice. 200. 100. 50. 30. 20. 10.
That was the best landing I've ever done. By a long shot. Reverse on. Very funky approach, very funky landing. Auto brake set.
Air Baltic 216, exit right at Gulf.
Right at Gulf, Air Baltic 26. Let's go here. Right Gulf. Yeah, very unstable. I understood all the mistakes that I've done. And I just didn't want to make another go around. Second flight in a row.
Air Baltic 216, contact ground 121.903, good day.
121.903, Air Baltic 26. Ljubljana ground, Air Baltic 26, request taxi to company gate.
Air Baltic 216, taxi to stand Alpha 5 via Golf, Alpha Papa Echo 2.
Taxi to stand Alpha 5 via Golf Alpha Papa Echo 2, Air Baltic 26. Maybe you're starting up. So we need to go. Let's get our airport chart. It's not a very big apron here, so you need to be careful with maneuvering here. So that's Papa right here. APU is available, so we can do a segmented taxi in. GSX selected it as well. Nope, it's not there. Alright, turning again. That's 5. That's our gate right there. Let's see. The Marshall. Systems just come live. It's alright. A220-300. It's also known as the BCS3. That's also the call sign. Doesn't care if it has only one engine or two, it just wants to accelerate. It wants to go. Slow down. Set. Let's just wait for the chunks. Okay. And we can switch power. So we got APU confirmed. We got external power as well. Okay. Turn off engine 2. So I forgot to do one thing whenever turning on the APU is to always turn off the trim air, especially for engine start. It should be part of the procedures, but I keep forgetting to do that. My apologies. Alright, let's deboard.
Boarding requested.
Here comes the jetway. It's a nice Skoda. And Renault Clio. And the Renault Kangoo. Look at that. Nice. I like to see realistic cars on airports. Sometimes they make up the brands. Alright, let's go with our... Well, we didn't perform the before landing checklist. That's a big no-no. After landing checklist complete, we can just clear these because they were performed. I just
Passengers
remember to do it. Flying solo is hard, guys. Flying solo is very hard. Not a go around, we need to do a go around, but we shut down checklist, so parking brake set, nose wheels steer to off. APU is off on, but we will be turning it off because we now are on external power. Slides are disarmed, seatbelt signs to off. Beacon to off.
All aircraft be advised, information Zulu now current, QNH 1017.
And no flight control test required. Complete. And there we are. We just go around. Make sure that we didn't perform any go around. We should have, but we didn't. Right, welcome to Ljubljana Airport in Slovenia. Let's go to it. I just love going down dirty on the ground. Beautiful airplane, beautiful airline, livery, beautiful flight. I wish you guys could have seen the beautiful hills before we reached Ljubljana. There's some high mountains, beautiful sight, but unfortunately, due to my inability to fly during the day, I can only have done it at night, so my bad. In any case, I hope you guys enjoyed, and remember, leaving a like and subscribing really helps the channel. If you guys are feeling generous, there's also a buy me coffee, link in the description below. This has been the Synaptic A220 flight out of Riga in Latvia to Ljubljana in Slovenia on board the Synaptic A220, an airplane that has a lot of bugs, but I'm hopeful it's going to be one of those planes that I'm going to fly quite a lot. Maybe not just right now. I'm going to wait a little bit for some fixes to come out to see this plane reach its full potential. And like I said earlier, guys, if you're not really desperate to fly the A220, maybe wait a little bit. Wait for them to fix the bugs, to implement missing stuff, especially the weather radar if you like to fly with weather like I do. Some of the stuff there are missing are not important, but there are very important things missing still. But other than that, the plane flies very, very well. It hand flies like a dream, by the way. I've done it on takeoff. I've not done it during the entire flight, but let me tell you, it flies manually like a dream. But that's not all. And we like automations, we like systems, we like in-depth, we like study level airlines, especially for 70 euros like this plane was. This plane is about 71 and a half or something with taxes. So a lot of money for a plane. It's a bit incomplete. Other than that, guys, if in a few months you see this plane again flying in my channel, it means that it's got to where it's supposed to be. Same thing happened with the A350 from Builds. It took some time, but it got there. Same thing happened with the iFly 737 MAX, if you guys remember. I actually gave up flying it. It was so bad, so buggy. And now look at that. Look at iFly. They're doing a good job, and I feel the same about the Synaptic A220. It will take some time, but it will get there. And yeah, the systems that are missing, some of them are not really important, but some of them are. And the little bugs, they're just annoying. That's about it. No big deal. You can still fly the plane really well. But I would wait to get your money worth. So again, guys, thank you so much for coming. Thank you, Trexie. You've been the only guy talking to me this entire flight. And Simings. Forget Simings. I'm sorry, guy. I'm sorry, Simings. Simings and Trexie. The only two guys that talked to me during the entire flight. That's the trouble of being a small channel. Sometimes you just don't get that much of an audience. But people do see my videos, and I think people enjoy the way I approach things. And so I'll keep on doing them. I'm doing this thing and maybe more. So, one more time, thank you so much. See you next time. And as I always say, guys, there's always a blue sky up ahead. Even if it's night, even if it's nighttime, the blue sky is up there somewhere. You just can't see it. It's around the world, the blue sky. The sun is shining. Just relax. If things aren't going well for you right now, they will someday.
Through the clouds I reach
Just be hopeful.
Climbing up
See you guys
to
next
touch
time.
the light.
Bye-bye.
Adventure calls me day and night. The wind, it sings a melody, guiding where I long to be. I'll spread my wings and chase the sun. No limits when the dreams begun. The world belongs the light. The stars above begin to shine, painting trails so bright and fine. Every turn brings something new, endless skies in brilliant blue. The wind, it sings a melody, guiding where I long to be. I'll spread my wings and chase the sun, no limits when the dream's begun. The world below fades out of sight as I soar into the light. I'll spread my wings and chase the sun, no limits when the drum's begun. The world below fades out of sight as I soar into the light.